Hello everyone, this is Steven and welcome to my 100th video on YouTube. I really never thought that I would make it this far, and I have no one to thank but all of you. So I guess that means I have to thank 3,500 people, which I'm not going to do individually, so I'll just say thank you to everyone, and to the people that don't subscribe to me, a great big middle finger to you, I guess. This video is going to be a special one. I'm going to show you something super epic that I did, and at the very end I have a very special announcement. So stick around for that, even if you start to get bored. If you get super bored, skip to the end. So we're here on Joker and Leech's server, which many of you have heard about and many of you have gotten to be a part of. And this has been my current project right here. As you can see, it's some sort of screen, and somebody has built my calculator thing over here next to it because for some reason my little stone island was deemed the redstone area of the server. You may be wondering what that giant contraption is. Let's go take a look. This is actually Ticker version 2.0. The first Ticker was a stair-step pattern of repeaters, which viewed from above or straight on took on the look of a display. And the reason that worked was, of course, if you put a bunch of repeaters in a row and you feed them a signal, the signal advances like a ticker does. So my question was, how could we do this with pixels? And while I was on the let's see, the charity server with Semantic X, I saw somebody try to make one of these and not quite succeed at it. So I'm going to show you a new method for making tickers that this guy showed me inadvertently. I kind of snuck a peek when he wasn't looking. Basically, I have 6 rows right now of pixels, and the basic premise is, let me get up to the top where you can see both. You have a repeater flowing into a single redstone piece, flowing into a repeater, so this takes on the cross pattern. This one right here takes on the cross pattern, which means it flows in all 4 directions. So this actually has a torch on the other side of it that's flowing into it. So right now, because of the inverters that you see down there, every single pixel is off because each of these crosses, or X's or whatever you want to call them, pluses, is going into a torch and turning it off. However, when we send a signal across it, we can do a very quick one. Let's see, redstone. You kind of see how the line chases it and then replaces it. That's going to be each time these go on and off, the torch will flicker. And I'll show you that in a minute. So basically the question was, how can I use this with the old design? Take a sip of water. And the answer is it's the exact same thing. So that's pretty easy. But I had a problem before in that my ticker took up a ton of space just for one letter, and people were like, well, that's stupid. It only does one letter at a time. How disappointing. My answer to that was to compress the entire system into a wonderful megalith structure. What you see right here is the circuitry and control panel needed for one letter. It is 6 tall by 5 wide, which is enough to accommodate pretty much any character. You can see it's maybe a total of, I want to say 15 or 16 blocks this way, the long way. So all you have to do to make multiple letters is copy and paste this guy. So here's one letter. This will be the first letter that gets printed out. So we would copy and paste another one right here, and so on and so on. So disregard all the stuff on the ground. And I'm just going to take you through really quickly the circuitry. It's a lot easier to see from the other side what I did here, so I'm going to go there. Basically, the green and purple that you see right here is just vertical wiring to connect the levels. And I have it flowing in a very large S pattern. It kind of goes, we start up here, and we go down, or go across, down with vertical wiring, then across, then down with vertical wiring, and across. And you can see the cyan or cayenne, however you say it. I believe it's cyan. The cyan wool are the D flip-flops, which transmit the, or they hold the current column of the letter until the display tells it that it's ready to receive the next one. So it's sent down and across to the next one where it's held, and then down and across. And right here is where it's actually transmitted each time this clock here ticks. So I have a very special clock for this that I'll show you that I haven't quite dialed it in fully yet, so this isn't going to be this is a proof of concept really more than anything, but I'm basically got it down. So what we have right here is an actual clock. Right now this is a 12 clock, and then I think you call that a 12 clock, or I guess it's technically a 13 clock, but whatever, which goes into a monostable circuit, which basically takes a pulse, an on, off, and turns it into a off with a very, very brief on each time it changes. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So we have our 13 clock going over here, and notice we have a very long off period, and a quick on, then a long off, and a quick on. And that's the kind of circuit you want to use when you're working with memory, because you do all your calculations and everything and move your data around, and then you change the memory to take the new values. You don't actually do any calculations with the memory. The memory is holding the answers. And that's actually a very common practice in actual processor design. So these guys right here are basically the same thing that we had before with the other ticker. You have D flip-flops, which stands for data flip-flop. It holds your data until the clock tells it to update. So we do all of our calculations behind this line. So out here where I am, we do all the calculations for figuring out what the next letter is, and then we push it to these repeaters where it waits. The data waits right here, and then the clock says, okay, take in the new data. So it comes into this right here. This is the input, and then the clock on the bottom will change very briefly to take the new value, and then the D flip-flop holds it. So we've talked about RS NOR latches, which can be on or off, and when you set it, it stays on, and when you reset it, it stays off. Well, this stays on or off until the clock tells it to update. And the output is always whatever is being held inside. So right now, all these are holding an off value. You can tell from these, but I invert it because we're working with redstone torch displays, and those you want to be off by default. Very simple. So I have two inputs to each of the D flip-flops, and that's very important. The first input comes from the control panel. The control panel is where you set the initial value for all the letters. So you would program a word like Steven or Minecraft or Steven Minecraft or Stevecraft, whatever. Minecraft with Steven, you'd program that, and eventually I'm going to have this be quite a few letters long, so we can make cool words like that. And you can see that these are held in, this is an AND gate. So we have the lever that goes into the AND gate, vertical AND gate, and the bottom has a control signal that comes from the front control panel, which I haven't built, but it'll be right here. This is the lever. So initially, we would turn this on, and what that does is it tells all the D flip-flops what their initial value will be. So obviously, you have to start off with all the words programmed in. Then we would turn that control signal off, because the values are going to be updating, and we don't want the old value to be coming in. So you can see these cross lines are where the control panel goes into the D flip-flop, control panel to D flip-flop, and so on. Now back here is the second input to the D flip-flop. This is coming from the previous one. My whole point on making a vertical scrolling display is that you can take this D flip-flop and transfer it to this one with a wire, and then that one can transfer to this one through a wire, and then eventually you have your output to your redstone torch display. This is just a little brief diagram here. So things go from this one to this one to this one, and then finally they get outputted. And that's really the basis of what we have here, just with quite a few of these. And if you want to add in more letters, you just add more and more and more and chain them together. And it's always one in a row, but you connect all the ones of the column, because when you have a redstone display that's doing the ticking like this, you want it to be scrolling across. And for it to scroll across, you're going to make changes for each column at a time, which when you push it across this display will look like you're changing the rows, but really the repeaters are doing the work, because you give it a signal and it'll just push it all the way across. Because if I change this right here, you see they all change, even though I just changed that one really. And redstone. So that's pretty much it for this. It's kind of difficult because I had to synchronize all the delay. So from this clock down here, you can see it's on the base level, but I had to get it to the very top and have it take just as long as it does to take for the one straight across. And this is made much easier by the introduction of the repeater block. So I'm very grateful for those. And then of course the delay between these needs to be the same. And I have to optimize the clock for, basically, you want the clock to update as soon as the new data gets here, and not much later and not much sooner, or else it's either going to be too slow of a display or too fast. So my next video about this ticker is going to be me showing you how I build it, really. And this one, it's not 100% done, but we can take a look at it, and I can show you the glitches that it's having right now. Oh, excuse me. It's rather annoying. So let's turn the clock on. This is not going to be very elegant. Oops, I forgot. It's a... Okay. Who would put this there? Come on, monkey man. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, bro? No, he's cool, but you shouldn't build stuff like this close to me. It's going to lag like crazy. Okay, so I'm pushing the initial value of the letters, and then see if it worked. Nothing yet. Let's try again. Okay. There. I think that time it worked. Yeah, see, it's really laggy right now, and it's transmitting, like, the bars are really, really far apart. So you see how long it took for the next one to come? So you can't even tell what letter that's supposed to be right now. It's supposed to be an S, but they're transmitting so far apart with so much delay that, it's a clock problem. That's what it is. It's a clocking problem. And this is what you see in the industry as well. Getting your clocking right is really tough. This is the kind of thing I have to do with my job, but it's top secret, so I can't talk about it. Anyways, so I guess let's go explore while I talk about my announcement. My announcement is a very important one to me, and I think some of you are going to be kind of pissed when I mention it, but it's important nonetheless. Basically, nothing bad is happening. Don't worry. I'm not stopping making Minecraft videos, so please, don't be upset and think that I am. Although if you're upset by a YouTuber stopping that, well, you might have a different issue. But anyways, I want to start kind of branching out. I've tried this in the past. I tried it with Portal and with Fallout, and some of you guys really, really liked it, and a lot of you didn't. I mean, my Portal videos still haven't breached like 500 views, which for me is kind of pathetic. And, hey Scott, creeper. And but I noticed I had a lot of success. Can you shut the door? Yeah. I had a lot of success with the math video that I did, which was really pleasing to me because everybody likes to think that they're, the people that subscribe to them are smart, because if they're smart and they're subscribing to you, then it means smart people approve of you, so you're doing something right. And I have always kind of aspired to do some sort of teaching, but of course it doesn't pay the bills. And when you go to engineering school for 5 years, then you kind of want to, well, put your skills to the test in the real world. But that doesn't mean that I can't do education in my hobby, which is exactly what I intend to do. I thought about making a separate channel for this, but I think I'm going to try to draw from my current subscriber base and eventually maybe make a second channel if I need to. But my YouTube channel is going to change slightly. I'm going to put out Minecraft videos just as often as I did before, every couple days, whenever I have a chance, when I'm not too busy with school and work, which I think is pretty fair, and any of you guys would do the same thing. But I am launching a brand new series that I have yet to title, unfortunately, but it will be something along the lines of, think of it as like Science with Steven. We're going to look at science, technology, math, all kinds of things in a YouTube classroom sort of setting.
Hard science with Steven.
Hard science, yeah, no. But this isn't going to be boring. It's not going to be like your classes in school. What I want to do is, basically, I'm going to, and this is the title of my first video, I'm going to teach you how to be smart. My first video is how to become smart. I really think that this is something that's lacking in the world, and that there's not enough emphasis in education on the things that really matter. And the thing is, I think all aspects of education are important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that, art and English and PE aren't important. But what we see right now is a lack of science being done. And science is really what makes us grow as a society. That's where medicine comes from. That's where computers come from. We got to the moon because of science, and someday we're going to, I am confident, cure all diseases and health problems because of science, and we're going to have super sweet computers that we can make YouTube videos on because of science. So I think this is a long time in the making. You guys have seen the kind of videos that I watch on YouTube. I like to watch stuff about physics and biology and astronomy, and I like to watch debates where people present evidence and facts to support their ideas and ultimately contribute to the world. So, alongside Minecraft with Steven, we're going to have some kind of science with Steven. I'm not sure what to call it because I don't want to leave out any particular subject. I promise it will not be boring. I promise it will not be complicated. I want everybody to be able to understand this, and as a result, I'm going to not make it dumb, but make it understandable. I know that sometimes I have a tendency to use complicated words and things like that, so I'm going to stay away from that and make it so that everybody really can see what's going on, understand things for themselves, and learn to be smart. Who can't argue with that? Who doesn't want to be smart? If you're smart, I promise you guys, you will be happier. You'll grow up successful, you'll make money, you'll contribute to your society, which is a very important thing. Oh, that didn't fall. And yeah, so next video I'm expecting to be tomorrow. These are going to be a mix of shot on webcam and then images and videos that I cut in from other sources. We'll probably use audio from other sources as long as I'm not going to get in trouble for it as far as copyrights. And yeah, so if there's any subject in particular you want me to explore, if you want me to talk about, you know, some concept of math or physics or biology or something, I'd be glad to. I have certain areas of expertise that I'm probably going to hit on first, not just because they're easy, but because I think they're the most important, because we always seek to learn the things that we think are most important, I guess. And but we'll see how it goes from there. So if you hate the idea, I'm sorry. I wouldn't say you should unsubscribe from me because I'm still going to be doing Minecraft videos, and if that's why you're here, then good. If you're going to complain about it, I'm sorry. You know, my mind's kind of made up. If the overall reaction is super bad, I'll probably launch a separate channel. But, you know, this is important. This is, you know, it's more important than video game commentary, but I'm going to do both because one is more entertaining than the other, but, you know, they both have their place on YouTube. So, another big thing, though, is if you really like the science and education videos that I do, I encourage you to show your, or, you know, email your teachers and show them and see if it's something they would want to show in class. I'm going to keep them all G-rated. In that I won't swear, and there won't be any nudity. No, definitely not you, Scott. And so nothing like that. We will talk about, you know, real stuff, but, you know, if we're talking about biology and if the talk comes to, you know, like mating or something, that's, you know, that's not like pornographic, that's science. But I won't be talking about that as far as I know. Anyways, so thank you guys for sticking with me for 100 videos. I'm sorry to drop this bombshell on you, and hopefully I don't catch too many of you by surprise, but I feel like this was a long time in the making. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and leave me your feedback. No, Scott, this is my 100 video special. You will not have a part of it. And give me your suggestions about anything that you would like to hear about in my new series, working title, Science with Steven.